Hi, I'm going to make a pulled chain Christmas tree. A lot of you have requested to see it. My grade 3-4 class made these for Christmas presents. Now, I must say I did work with them individually on this. They didn't do it as a whole class while the rest of the class were working. So when you start, they did an 8x10 canvas. I'm doing a smaller one. You start with a watered down, actually it's varnish, black paint. Typically it's about, the paint is about 1/3 varnish to 2/3 paint. You can see it just kind of sits on top a little bit. And I had got this varnish to do some work to cover some of my own artwork, and I didn't like it, so I'm just using it up in this. You can also use glue, white glue. It's typically about half and half paint and glue and maybe a bit of water, but you want to get that consistency. So for this chain pull for the Christmas tree, you have to do wet on wet. So what I'm going to do is pour some of this paint on here. Okay. I'll see if that's enough. And I'm going to spread it with the back of a spoon. This is what the kids did. They used a spoon to spread it around. Don't worry about the edges. You can always get them later, just with regular paint. That's good consistency. So just spread your paint around, like so. Get rid of a bit of the excess up here. All right. So some of my students chose to do just 2 different greens, a light green and a dark green. Now I had mixed up enough paint in the big bottle for my whole class to do it, but for today I just am using the small bottles. And again, 1/3 varnish with about 2/3 paint. You might have to add a little water. If it's too runny, it'll bleed too much. And I also have white. Some chose to add white into theirs as well. So I'm going to do all 3 colors today. The other thing is there are chains. I'm using the bigger chain, and you can use a smaller chain, but I'm going to use the bigger pull chain. It's just a pull chain you find at the hardware store. I was hoping to find it by the foot, but I had to buy it in little packages. So if you can buy it by the foot, that's even better. Okay. So we're going to start with this is the bottom of the tree. So you're working towards yourself, toward the top. We're going to start with the dark green. Okay. And you don't have to squeeze because it's actually fairly runny. And we're going to make a crooked line at the bottom. And they did whatever they wanted to do with the crooked line. Make sure they don't squeeze because it will come out on its own. I'm taking the light green, putting it right beside it. And if they happen to get off like that, you know, it's still going to work. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to put some white on as well because I'm going to do the 3 colors today. All right, so I'm not going to do too much white. You can kind of, hit and miss with that one. All right. Then they're going to take their chain and they're going to put it down beyond the marks here, like this. And what I did with my students, they put a stick pin right here so that they could pull around it, okay? Because some of them may not be able to control that. I'm just going to put a little bit more white in here. I see that it's bleeding a little bit. It might be a little bit too runny, so I want to make sure the white's showing up. Okay, so if there was a stick pin there, they would just pull around that pin, and you have to make sure you're pulling slowly, because if you don't go slow, you're not going to get the nice blend of the colors happening here. And that's working really well. Again, they would be going around this stick pin, pretending a stick pin is there right now. So slow, slow, slow. Even have some cells developing on this one a little bit too. And then I'm going to, I'm a little bit there. Then I'm going to pull that up, and you have to make sure you clean, just wipe your sponge, your chain with a cloth afterwards, just so you don't have the excess off. Okay, so there's my first layer at the bottom of my tree. All right, and I can see, I think I'd like more white next time because I didn't get a lot of white. I think my white is fairly thin today. It could be a little thicker. That's why it's not showing up very well. Just do another, random type of curly line. Oops. Second line of the light green. And again, some of them chose to just do the two colors. And they looked really nice as well. And the white. Hit and miss with that a little bit. And do the same process. I'm going to put my chain here, bring it behind those poles. I don't have to be exactly with the thing because I can make things from here. And again, I would put a stick pin here, about here, so that they can pull around that. And again, go slow. Yeah, my white is definitely too thin because I'm not getting that nice white going on, but that's okay. There's a nice white one. All right, lift up. I'm gonna clean my chain again with a cloth. You can wash them, but you don't really need to. And then for the top of the tree, I'm gonna try to get a little less of the green so I can get more of the white on the top. And I'm hardly squeezing at all because they're coming out so beautifully. All right, a little green. And if it's not perfect, they don't match along, it's fine. My older students, they can handle this on their own. The younger ones, they do need assistance. I did work individually with them, so. Ooh, I like what's happening here. Okay, so then I'm gonna pull my last one. And again, I'd put a stick pin here, okay? Just to help them, oops, sorry, over here, to guide them along. Go slow. Oh, that's working. Yeah, I should have put more white in the other ones. That looks good. All right. And then I'm going to lift it off before I get to the edge because I don't want the top going off. Beautiful. All right, so there you have it. It is upside down. Once this dries, you can add all sorts of glitter. They used the dollar store glitter they get. It's a glitter glue, and they just went at her. Now, the other thing too is you have to make sure it's dry. The reason you add varnish or glue to your paint is so that it doesn't crack when it dries. So it slows down the drying process, and that's why you do that. So, thank you for all the amazing comments and likes, and you can follow me now on Blossom Row Art, and I will have different projects that I do at school mainly, and thank you for watching. Bye!